In my dream I went to a new church, because the neighbors went there. At this new church everything was totally fancy. The pastor was talking about movies instead of God. The church had like a large theater screen in the front by the pastor. I noticed that movie stars such as Wesley Snipes and Chuck Norris was sitting beside of me. I started talking to Wesley Snipes, because I admired him a lot. I was ignoring the sermon that the pastor got mad at me and I was like, what's had I then started paying attention, until he moved his focus elsewhere. Then I started talking to Snipes about his martial arts, asking him where he learned this, and where he learned that. He told me he learned something when he was in New York. I wind up learning a similar move from YouTube. We were having a nice discussion. All of a sudden the pastor said he felt God's presence in the room with us, and I was like, yeah right. Then I second thought it could be real. In the Bible God said that he'd be with a group of people if they gathered in his name. About that time some werewolf creature was coming up behind people when they had their attention on the pastor. The werewolf people, some looked like werewolves, some looked like clowns, some were a mixture of the two, would come up behind people and outstretch their arm and lay their palm right in the middle of their victim's back, as if they were praying for them. Then the person who got touched would instantly turn pale and get all their life drained out of them. Then they would fall over. At this point we were getting surrounded. A few clown people were in front and some larger werewolf people behind us. I looked around but I couldn't find Blade or Chuck Norris, who were recently sitting beside of me, so I started looking down trying to scrape up any weapons that I could find. In the meantime, there was a girl trying to be touched by one of the werewolf creatures. She was screaming and crawling away. He was outstretching his arm. When he almost got to her boyfriend grabbed its fingers to push it away. Then he started screaming out in pain. He wasn't turning silver yet though, because it was draining his life slower than the previous victim it touched, because it didn't have full contact, just with a few of the fingers instead of the whole hand and palm. Then I awakened.